Hi, welcome to class. We're the only two right now, but the other ones will show up eventually, right? I hate my life. I hate my life. A Professor Sunrise Productions! Hello class, Professor Sunrise here. In today's class, we're gonna take a replay analysis of me playing. You've already seen it in the title. Brave Spright versus Danger Punk Tearlements Pile deck. I'm 99% gonna make the switch to Spright, probably also the Brave Spright list I'm currently running. I'm gonna go over my reasonings for that once I've done a deck profile, once all of my stuffs arrives, which is hopefully not gonna take too long. My stuff got lost in the mail, so either I hope I get my money back real quick, or the stuff is getting to me somehow in like 1 or 2 days. Anyways, the deck is performing super well for me, so without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave some feedback down below, and let's get right into the replay. So here we are in the replay. We lose the rock, paper, scissors against Bear. Of course, that I decided to go first. 43 versus a clean 40, of course. You gotta love to see it. And look at this opening hand. By the way, this is not like a perfect match. I just wanted to showcase you guys what this deck can do when it's really nasty. I decided to go for a hand trap approach. Quick take on that is, in my opinion, the Danger Tearlements deck, or like Danger Tearlement decks in general, overcommit way too hard right now, and if you don't play any hand traps, you just are basically losing for free because they are on spell cancel. So an all-out board breaker, a defensive card setup doesn't do it anymore because some people, or a lot of people, are on the spell canceller. So I just wanted the most optimal, most consistent way of playing, which is just hand traps. I decided to play the Brave Engine with it because, of course, hand traps are not enough. A lot of times people will still end on disruption, and the Spright Engine is kind of susceptible to disruption in the form of snow, smashes, stuff like that. So I really like the Brave Engine in that just because it gives you extra abilities to go second. The body you can use to extend into good link 2s like Pit Knight, Charmers, stuff like that. And it helps you with getting rid of big bodies because they are like 2k, and also you have the Draco back bounce, which helps immensely. But yeah, more on that once I'm actually doing the profile with it. I'm also like not 100% sure about the list, but we'll just take a look. Our opening hand is 2 hand traps, starter, blue, enchantress. This is probably the best hand you could ever ask for. Opponent is on Foolish, Sheeran, Bigfoot, Rhinoheart, and Nessie. So they start off with a Bigfoot. Which we of course snipe. I always go 1 to 4 or like even uneven. So we hit it. Rhinoheart, normal summon on that. We imperm that because we're like, okay, they are on 3 cards. If they have if they have another push, we can easily avail of that. If they have another danger like they have here, we are like pretty good to go. We hit that again, so they will be able to get and search for a Chupacabra here. So in most, I'm feeling there's going to be one more push, and even if they push through double hand trap, we are super fine. Of course, we imperm first, though imperm is better on the opponent's turn. We are feeling like they will commit more into plays, and we definitely want to play around the talents because getting hit by talents early sucks ass. So probably right now it is best to use the imperm first because of the talents in the meta, of course. So we sniped the Chupacabra again. That's a 3 out of 3 danger sniped. I mean, 2 of them were 50-50, so it is what it is. Foolish Barrel on the Merly. Will resolve, of course, because we are not playing DD Crows in this list for now. Merly, Recycle, Nessie, and itself. Effect Get Carlos, and we definitely bail that because that is a complete turn skip. On the opponent's part here, because there's nothing the opponent can really do. You could go for like a link play, but there's nothing really to get there. So they just decided to scoop here, and not scoop, to pass. We draw an Ash, which is the perfect draw basically to stop the opponent's next play. Like an Imperm or Vela would have been better, but it is what it is. We get the Enchantress, we search a ride, then we will activate the ride, summon the token and attack. You usually probably want to put it on this column here, but I'm just from playing P.K. Brave, I've always decided to put it in the leftward outer zone just because you could want it on the Cherubini at all times. So I'm still trying to get used to that. Blue, normal summon blue, effect faithful to search. This is the only downside I feel like with this list. You don't have any discards in this deck whatsoever, and sometimes you don't want to commit to a normal summon. So the Brave Engine can sometimes be a little iffy because you don't use any other discard in any combo basically. So the Dracoback basically needs to be discarded by exactly Fateful Adventure, otherwise you just lose one card. So sometimes you have to play it out weirdly. You cannot use Starter before you to trigger the Dracoback search, because first of all, it plays into hand traps. And second of all, you cannot, most importantly, you cannot summon Griffin afterwards. So this is like the only downside I have, but as long as you have something to normal summon, you are pretty fine. So we search the Dracoback, we use the Griffin to pitch Dracoback equip. Here you definitely want to bounce the Kid Kalos. 3k body, we can definitely still get over that. We showed the starter, and I was 99% sure the opponent is just going to swoop there because we have basically a clean OTK afterwards. So the opponent decides to go first. We are on Enchantress, Spright, Jet, Swap Frog, Imperm, starter, already an insane hand. Opponent is on Merly, Diano, the Armin, Fox, Fusion Destiny, and Fusion Destiny, Instant Fusion, and Bigfoot again. So they start off within the Armin. I thought about hitting this Imperm here, but in hindsight, it's probably just best to hit the Pepega Ruler. So Dianot comes out here, so it was definitely good not to hit this because they already had one piece in there. And they don't like plus off in Huffness or like any other tier elements sent by Foxy Tune. Here I decided to hit the chaotic Pepega Ruler just because I thought they are not gonna play the zombie vampire. I probably in hindsight should have asked for the target because yeah, we get punished here by that heavily. If I knew they were gone for the Foxy Tune, I would probably have saved the Imperm for something else. So they decide to go for the zombie vampire. We mill a Swap Frog, which is kind of nice. They mill an Gizmek, which is pretty good. Another is the Armin, which seems kind of weird, but I guess you could play 2 the Armin just because the deck doesn't run that many impactful normal summons. They're all like decent normal summons, like Rhino Heart or Merly is like decent. But you definitely run a few, so interesting that they are on 2 the Armin here. Especially with the dangers, I feel like you don't really have a lot of space, but who knows. They summon a Swap Rock, which is of course nice for Splight Elf routes later on in the combo, which of course don't do anything right now because they don't have Merly in grave. Instant Fusion, the most broken card in the format right now, probably just from pure playmaking ability. Searches out Rhino Heart, so that's always a good sign. If they search out a monster, you know that they either have a hard run trap, which kind of sucks, or they don't have any place, or like a very little amount of place, which of course always feels good. In that case, they don't have any monster, any trap, which we love. Kid Carlos effect, target itself, and Reinhardt in the hand. A mill 5 as a chaining 2 to protect the Reinhardt from an Ash. They mill a Shiren, a Snow, which of course is pretty good, and they mill an Huffness with the Reinhardt. So they decide to use chaining 1 Huffness, chaining 2 Shiren. We don't have any way to interact here, so we just have to let it all come down to us and hope we can make it through there. They summon the Garura and the Mud Dragon probably. Yeah, summon Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon make Dark. And then they have 3 Darks here on the field to go into Curious, of course. This probably would have been the correct. If you had information on the opponent's hand, Imperm on the Curious probably is the correct play, but now with Snow already in grave, it's also not really doing a lot. So it's probably just Kid Carlos. Yeah, it's probably it's 100% Kid Carlos, which we should have Imperm with that hat. They decide to mill a Merly here. They by the way, I think they forgot the Garura. Yeah, they forgot the Garura. Effect of Curious. Mill 3, so they are not deciding to use the Merly effect just yet because they have the Merly in hand and they want to trigger it that way. And they want to keep their Merly in the graveyard, of course, so they can revive it with Elf. Get another Mill 3 here. Not a lot that they can hit. The Gizmek, I guess, is the thing you want to hit here. Hitting the Rhino Heart is very lucky for them because I feel like they kind of locked themselves out if they didn't, right? Because they already normaled. What would they have done? I guess they would have tried to use Bigfoot and pray. But now they can get rid of Merly. Yeah. To summon the big guy, the Kaleido Heart. And now they can use Snow to make. I guess they had to. No, they didn't have Dugaros, right? Because they didn't have the Rhino Heart. I feel like there was like kind of locked out there a little bit, but who knows? So they summoned Dugaros, and now they go for Griffin. Always interesting what Link 4 they try to go for. There's so many variants right now. It's super hard to make a video out. I'm working on it because but I still want to like kind of get a grasp on what are the most played variants right now. And for me, at least on Dunenburg, it is definitely the Spellcancer Turbo route. And I think they also play Griffin, so not as many Bomber Dragons here and there because it just loses to Darkroot a little more. So I guess it makes sense to just go for a Floodgate. But if you don't hit a Floodgate, then you don't really have anything to set here. It is kind of what it is. They draw Merly and Huffins, which of course sucks for us, but it is what it is. So they have Huffins, they have the Virus, they have a Griffin, and they have a Collider Heart on field with Elf reviving and Merly to get stuff going. But of course that is not alive currently because they are on a Griffin. So we have to play on Griffin, Collider Heart, Virus, which doesn't do anything because we just have a starter and we already have Spright Engine, so we are fine. And Elf revive at some point if they have get rid of the Griffin. And there's no engrave. So in standby phase or draw phase, we get hit by a Virus here. We just let this resolve, of course, because we have, first of all, we have Spright Engine, and most importantly, we definitely want to use the Brave Engine to get rid of the Collider Heart. Because it's gonna be a pain in the ass to deal with a reoccurring 3k body with insane disruption tools and playmaking tools, because this card is really strong. So we can get rid of the Spright. We don't care about that. We use the Swap Rock to special summon itself in the zone the Griffin points to, because of course our special summon monsters or special summon monsters in general need to be linked, not co-linked, just linked. So they have to point be in a zone the link monster points to get their effects going. Of course, I think in a normal combo you would put Griffin here. So the opponent has no way of using that link arrow, because without that, with like Griffin in the extra monster zone, it's actually not that big of a floodgate, especially if you play a deck which plays links itself. So Swap Rocks, send Enchantress, special summon itself, affect Swap Rocks, send Ronin. So now we already have an alive Ronin in the grave, which is insanely good. Makes it so that we don't just die to one book on the level 2. Brave Engine gets us going into the token here. We use Enchantress, of course, to banish from the graveyard. Always Swap Rock plus Enchantress is such a nice play. It just feels so good to get that free Swap Rock on the field, get that mill going from the deck without even using the normal summon. We then decided to normal summon Swap Rock again because we don't want to minus ourselves with the Draco back, of course. It doesn't really matter when we normal summon it here. We just need it there. So we ask if everything is good here. So now the play is to go into an Elf. I thought about going into an Airy, but we don't have anything to search anymore. And there's nothing which we can summon, which we can really capitalize off. Of course, we could summon a Rhinoheart, but what are we doing with that? So we summon an Elf here for the targeting protection, so our Griffin cannot get targeted. And most importantly, we get 2 arrows to make our plays. We can always get a level 2 back on the field, either with Elf or preferably with a Ronin Totem. Of course, that can get snowed, but it is what it is. So now we get the Draco back, Griffin going, Draco back on the Collider Heart, bounce that so we don't have to deal with that, because I decided to do that because Griffin we can definitely handle. We have now 3 zones to play with, so we definitely don't really care about Griffin too much, and most importantly, the opponent cannot really use their snow effect without banishing their Griffin. So the Griffin is actually hurting the opponent and they have to get rid of it themselves, so we are definitely good here. We summon the Ronin Totem, not in the Elf zone. I don't know why we didn't do that. This just gives them a perfect way to snow on that. We summon the Jet here. The opponent decides to summon Huffins. We are fine with that, of course. We just hope they don't mill 2 here. They mill 1 Huffins, which is perfectly fine, as we can just use the Griffin Rider here to get rid of that. So we negate it here. Now the opponent is snowing. Of course, if we got Ronin under here, we definitely wouldn't have had a problem here whatsoever, because Ronin under the Elf cannot be targeted, and then we can extend even further into Toad lines, which we are now basically locked out of because we need to use the Elf for Frog Revive now. We decide to chain Smashes here. forcing out the elf, getting rid of the glass potential disruption the opponent has, banishing the Ronin Totem in the meantime, just because it's a free banish, of course. So in the end, in hindsight, it doesn't really matter too much, and we just got out of it correctly. Maybe it's even the correct play to bait the snow on that, just because this gets me onto the Merly for free, so the opponent cannot get the mill 3 and maybe hit another Tearlements and fusion summon on my turn again. So now we have to use Elf because we need to get a level 2 on the board. Summon the Gigantic. There are a few lines here which I thought about, but in the end, I think it's the correct route to get into the rest of the Spright engine. So we summon blue here. Big thing, we go for a red here. There are multiple lines here to clear the board. In the end, all we really need to do is get rid of the opponent's board. With just one card in hand, it's usually very hard for them to get back into the game. They have a snow, so they can use the snow to bait out a potential red we have. But with us having so much on the board here, I was feeling pretty safe. So we summon a red, search a red, and now the opponent decided to scoop. But of course, I'm still going to showcase you guys what the route would have been here. We would have special summoned the red. Probably not directly, because we definitely want to get another disruption going. So at this point here, we had a Gigantic which could crash here or just run over this. We could use the token to run over the Huffins. An Elf over this. So this can run over this. This can run over this. And then we probably needed to do something else. So this is not the play. The play probably would have been to use these two to go for a dark. No, it probably would these two to switch sides, go for dark here, revive one, get another level 2. So we had a Merly dark here. And then probably end on Pit Knight plus a red negate on the opponent's turn. Maybe you leave the snow on the field so they are forced to go for battle phase. There are definitely a few routes here. If the opponent has a good top deck, they could theoretically still get into the game. But I think we would have a Pit Knight slash thing going on here. If we summon Pit Knight, if we summon red first and we just Pit Knight on that and just switch side over that, we have Pit Knight red setup. Yeah, we just go for that. So we would have summoned you go battle phase, clear everything apart from snow, and then go for a Pit Knight red route. So these two go into Elf, summon red in this zone. No, and yeah, we cannot summon red in this zone, but it is what it is. So these go over here into the thing, into the another elf, and then these go into Pit Knight here, and then red summon, and then we have 2 negates against basically only 1 to 2 plays the opponent has. So hope you guys enjoyed this quick replay analysis. At the end was a little bit messy because the opponent decided to preemptively scoop, but in hindsight, it is the correct thing to do here because we are not gonna crack our board. Then again, it's only 2 minutes, so probably if you are in this same boat the opponent was, just stick it out. It's not gonna take too long. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys are ready for some more Spright content on this channel. Definitely still gonna do virtual content as well. Probably not gonna play too much, but once the new meta comes out in the form of a new ban list or just a huge meta shift because of the Shizu cards, I'm definitely gonna go for an updated deck profile, but virtual just doesn't feel good enough to me right now. Even though we have an amazing Mystic Mine matchup, Mystic Mine is just not there on like a regional level or on Dueling Book, so only on like real premier event it would make sense to play virtual. And then the problem is it's just way too sacky of a match, because if you lose the die roll, you only have 3 droplets on the main deck to really contest an enemy board. A lot of times you could in theory crack a board with just pure gas, but then the brickiness of the deck comes to shine because it's not the most consistent. So overall, it just felt really high rolly of a deck, and I really just wanted to play something more consistent again. If I was playing on a premier event right now, maybe I would go for a virtual world list just because Mystic Mine is on a lot of players right now, and Brave Virtual has by far the most amazing Mystic Mine matchup out of all the decks in the meta. So definitely it's still not bad and has a very good spot in the meta right now. But I just wanted something consistent and something which gives me a more consistent playability, especially on Dueling Book or on regional levels or like local. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Class is dismissed. You are free to leave. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.